Uttarakhand to Tamil Nadu to Uttar Pradesh. Rising hate crimes shock nation.
तो हिंदुओं की इसको कैसे बेच रहे हो?
When identity becomes target.
आप तो बांग्लादेशी.
Hate on streets, fear in homes.
अपने घर में बनाओ जो बनाने जाके. अपने घर में बनाओ.
Why are Indians attacking Indians? Stop this hate.
Yes, stop this hate. That is the big message that is coming in now from India. You're watching To The Point with me, Marya. Today we look at two very important topics. Our top story, hate crimes are no longer isolated incidents. They are turning deadly. Tonight, we bring you the chilling story of Angel Chakma, a young MBA student from Tripura, whose life was cut short after a brutal, racially motivated attack in Dehradun. Angel and his brother were allegedly abused, attacked, and left gravely injured simply because of who they were and from where they came. 2 weeks later, Angel lost his battle for life as protests erupt in Tripura and political reactions pour in. Disturbing questions are being raised about rising racial violence and the sheer impunity. First up the story, and then I bring in the guests.
Hate takes another life. MBA student from Tripura, Angel Chakma, and his brother were racially abused and brutally assaulted by a group of men in Dehradun on December 9. 2 weeks later, Angel succumbed to his injuries. On the night of the incident, Angel and his brother Michael were standing near a canteen outside a liquor shop. That's when 6 intoxicated men allegedly began hurling racially abusive slurs at them. When the brothers objected, verbal abuse quickly escalated into violence. In the attack that followed, Angel was assaulted with a sharp-edged weapon and struck repeatedly with a kada. Now, a medical report from Graphic Era Hospital reveals the sheer brutality. Spinal cord damage, brain fissures, right side paralysis, deep cuts on his back and head, multiple abrasions, upper and lower limbs damage, injuries so severe they ended a young life in cold blood. The streets of Agartala are burning with anger. Candlelight marches demand justice for Angel. According to his family and police, Angel and his brother were called Chinese before being brutally assaulted. Michael, Angel's brother, recounts the horror of seeing his sibling beaten mercilessly.
तो उन लोग हम लोग को मेरे को थोड़ा पोक कर रहा था कि चिंकी उनके मेरे को थोड़ा सा रेजिज्म कर रहा था, तो मैं थोड़ा अपने तरफ से अपने सेल्फ डिफेंस मतलब थोड़ा बोल रहा था कि भैया क्या हो गया करके उधर पे। बस मैं अपना कन्फेस किया कि भैया क्या हो, गाली क्यों दे रहे हो। उन्होंने डायरेक्ट मेरे में अटैक कर दिया उन लोग ने। तो फिर भैया आया मेरे को बचाने के लिए आया, फिर भैया को मेरे को कड़ा से मारा, भैया को लगा उससे, फिर भैया को उन लोगों ने चाकू मार दिया स्पाइन की तरफ में।
Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami spoke with Angel's father and promised strict action.
एक्चुअली में बहुत ही दुखद घटना हुआ, हम बहुत दुखी हैं इससे, और इस पर हमने बहुत सख्त कार्रवाई के लिए कहा है यहाँ पर, है ना। और 4-5 लोग जो भी इसमें थे बदमाश, 5 गिरफ्तार कर लिए गए हैं, जो भी इस घटना में जिन्होंने भी अपराध में किया है। जो भी लोग इसके दोषी हैं उनको हम लोग कड़ी से कड़ी सजा दिलाएंगे यहाँ।
Meanwhile, Rahul Gandhi called this a horrific hate crime. He warned that hate does not appear overnight and that normalizing such violence is a threat to India's very values of unity and diversity. A young life brutally taken, a nation demanding justice. The call is loud and clear. Justice for Angel and an end to racial violence. Bureau Report, India Today.
Joining me on the show tonight, Pradyut Bardoloi is a member of Parliament of the Congress Party from Assam. Dr. Kiran Bedi is former IPS officer. We have Sanju, Varma, national spokesperson of the BJP. And Dr. Alana Golmei is a General Secretary, Northeast Support Center and Helpline. Pradyut, I'm going to begin with you. How do you view Uttarakhand Chief Minister Dhami's response to this murder as completely unacceptable, and what specific accountability measures should be taken by the state?
I have seen the statement of the Uttarakhand government. Somehow I have a sad feeling that the Dehradun police and probably the administration there is trying to cover up and trivialize the entire incident. But I want to tell you, Marya, this is not just an isolated instance. I would like you to recall that in 2014, in the heart of Delhi, in Lajpat Nagar, a 19-year-old Arunachal student, Nido Tanyam, was clubbed to death in the similar incidents, actually, same type of incidents. And all these incidences are found, the hate crimes, the discrimination, the prejudice against the northeastern youths who are there. And this is my sad realization over the years. I was also a student of Delhi. I have found even those days that somehow the many people in the North Indian cities, more particularly, have very scanty knowledge and understanding of the Northeast. They just are insensitive towards the people of
Okay,
Northeast.
Pradyut, as a student yourself in Delhi, did you face some kind of slur or what is now being called as normalized hate against Northeast people?
No, this kind of unfortunate incidences of taunting, insults, calling them Chinese or Chinkies, all kinds of things are always there. But what is important now, after the incidents that took place in 2014, this government set up Bajbarua Committee. The Bajbarua Committee report was submitted to Mr. Amit Shah almost a decade ago. And that report has a slew of recommendations. Those recommendations have to be implemented. And then the people of the Northeast, wherever they are, they must have freedom from such racial discrimination and prejudice.
Okay, so certainly there's a huge concern. Before I talk about policing with Dr. Kiran Bedi, Sanju Varma, please come in, your reaction to this. Of course, lots needs to be done. While we are looking at this particular case of Angel, there is another hate crime that has been reported in Tamil Nadu of someone who comes from Odisha. So when we look at the larger incidents, it also seems that Indians in general are becoming less compassionate or less empathetic. Ms. Sanju Varma. Sanju Varma, if you heard me.
Yes, Marya. Am I audible? Because there's some glitch in the audio line.
Yes, please, go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. So Marya, first and foremost, to the Congress panelist, who I believe is a member of parliament too, my limited point is this. I think the moot point here is that let's not indulge in toxic narratives and let's not engage in vicious stereotyping of certain communities. I have seen often, and this is not just about politics. I will come to the political bit eventually. But the moot point here is this. Look at what Sam Pitroda, he's the head of Indian Overseas Congress. What did he say? Last year in 2024, he made that rather irresponsible remark where he said, people from the north look like whites, people from the south look like blacks, people from west look like Arabs, and people from northeast and eastern part of India look like Chinese. I don't know what was the intent of making that statement, but the stereotyping, especially of people from the northeast, I think this has to be dealt with, point number one. Point number two, I think where the political part comes in. For instance, look at what has happened since 2014 after Narendra Modi took charge at the helm. 1985, we had Rajiv Gandhi, who signed the Assam Peace Accord to provide rights to indigenous Assamese people. Nothing happened for decades altogether. In 1986, we had the Mizo Accord. Nothing happened in terms of curbing insurgency in Mizoram. In 1988, the Congress signed a tripartite agreement in Tripura, but it failed there also. In fact, last year again, on the 4th of September 2024, we got in all stakeholders from Tripura and signed an agreement
Marya,
ensuring
this
that
lady
violence
is diverting the core issue.
One moment.
This is very
Can I
unfortunate.
please finish?
Pradyut, just
I did
be
not
patient.
interject.
I'm coming to you,
She's
Pradyut. Let
just
her finish her
diverting
point.
the issue.
Let
You are
her
a
finish
member
her
of
point. I'm
parliament.
coming to
No.
you.
No,
Let her finish
no,
her point.
no.
I'm coming to you. Pradyut,
Yes,
Diverting
Marya.
the issue.
Pradyut,
Marya,
let
can I
her
please-
finish. Yes, please.
I
go
don't
ahead.
know why this gentleman is heckling me. I mean, being
Okay,
a
go
member
ahead.
of parliament,
Go
I
ahead.
expect him to show some courtesy. Marya, at least you don't interject. Let me finish. Sanju, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm saying. My limited point is this: be it the Tripura Accord, be it the Mizo Accord, be it the accord with the Bodoland, which was signed in 2004, or the Assam Accord. The Congress, for decades together, failed to protect the rights of be it indigenous Tripuris, indigenous Mizos, indigenous Assamese, or the indigenous people from the Bodo community. The Modi government has undone decades of neglect which the northeastern part of India
Okay.
faced. And
Okay.
I think I will simply say this: the Uttarakhand government is not going to leave any stone unturned in nabbing the two people
Okay.
who are still out there and who were responsible for the heinous murder of Angel
Let's
Chakma.
bring in Dr. Kiran Bedi. Dr. Kiran Bedi, drawing from your policing experience, why do racial slurs that we are hearing a lot, very, very unfortunate words, chinky or Nepalese, escalate to violence in places, say, like Dehradun, what has happened, and how should then FIRs mandate hate crime classifications?
Marya, the concept of preventive policing has weakened for reasons that the boots on ground are more on law and order and reactive policing. The preventive policing, I'm looking at it as from the prevention point of view, long-term prevention point of view, and there's nothing political about this. It is that concept of prevention has declined. And how does prevention happen? Prevention happens when you have more boots on ground to patrol and also to connect with people, connect with interests, connect with women's groups, youth groups, elder groups, market associations. It's like the beat policing I've always talked about, but prevention. Now, what does preventive policing do? It engages with youth. It engages with interests. Now, in that, when it engages it maintains a system called rough register. It's a rough register means where, see, such violence, such boys and girls, such boys, of course, the girls are not there. These men don't grow overnight. They've grown over a period. They're not just happening overnight. They've grown as people who've been taking law into their own hands. Now, there was also a concept called rough registers, maintaining rough registers, where we police officers used to maintain the records of those youth who are breaking the law on a regular basis, and then bring them under some watch, some control, so called rough registers. In the rough registers, these boys from school time or little early time from college would show these tendencies of taking on law into their own hands. Now, when you have this rough registers, the beat system connects with these boys and then maintains some systems of preventive policing. And then you also have preventive sections of law. If you are repeatedly coming under notice, you are under CRPC, now with the new laws, you can be brought under some check, like sureties, etc., or a preventive arrest, which also softens them, mollifies them, and puts them on some fear of law. I think the problem here, Marya, is that we have because of so much of reactive policing, so much of pressure on policing, on investigation and firefighting, that our preventive concept of community policing and preventive policing has declined and weakened on ground. With the result, we are now reacting. And
Yes.
all these generations, the Gen Zs have grown. They've grown now almost free for all. So these are very tragic incidents, and these are not going to go away.
Yes, you know, because there is another incident which has happened of a migrant being, you know, there's a very tragic incident. Of course, those visuals are there, minor. In fact, minors have attacked a migrant worker. Do you think that there is a need for compulsory cultural sensitization modules, particularly in states which have high migrant inflows?
Absolutely. It's a community culture. So the community culture has now weakened, and that community culture with policing, where even the elders play a role, a certain those people who have influence, the influencers are playing, and also more cultural activity where there's harmony and there's also cross-culture respect. I think those come in peacetime. They can come in peacetime, and those could be encouraged. That's when harmony will take place. So whether you're from the northeast or the northwest or you're at the center, you integrate and you work together as one community. I think that comes only where there are mobilizers and there are leadership at the grassroots level, which is non-political sometimes. Non-political leadership has to emerge, which promotes culture, which promotes harmony, and promotes also compassion.
That's where the role of Dr. Alana and her group comes in. Dr. Alana, NESCH, of which you are the General Secretary, has handled 600 plus discrimination cases since 2007. How does Angel Chakma's Dehradun murder fit into what will be seen as larger pattern of harassment? And is there also a surge in helpline calls or SOS calls, particularly post-incident?
Yes, Marya. Since in 2007, we started this Northeast Support Center and Helpline, not because of anything else, but it's because of the young people from the Northeast who have left their home states face a lot of racial discrimination. So because of that, we started this helpline, and on voluntary basis, we started this helpline. And initially, we had to run from pillar to post, and then we started sensitizing the young Northeast people who have a culture shock, who have come from the home state and to cities in metropolitan cities like Mumbai, Bengaluru, Delhi. And also we have done a lot of awareness with the Residential Welfare Association, with the non-Northeastern communities. So all these things we have been doing. But time and again, we have been saying, now I have been advocating for almost 2 decades, but still, we have to accept that racial discrimination exists in this country. Of course, after the case of Nido Tanya in 2014, the former speaker was talking about the setting up of Best Bora Committee. I was one of the members of Best Bora Committee, where we have actually a lot of recommendations. And one of the major recommendations is for the amendment of IPC. Now it is BNS. Earlier it was IPC 153A. We have 153B, but we do not have 153C. So that anything which is any racial slurs, any names are being called to any citizens of the country. This is not only for Northeast people alone, but any non-Northeast people also, if they go to the Northeastern states, there should be a deterrent set so that the perpetrators, should know, and there should be some exemplary actions. So we have been advocating this for the past many, many, many years. And then now it is more than 10 years after the death of Nido Tanya. It is extremely heartbreaking and tragic because these young people, they have come to build their dreams. But then only coffin go back home. This is not an isolated incident, and we have to accept. But how do we address this together? I'm also a member of the monitoring committee, which is constituted under the Ministry of Home Affairs. So we look into all these concerns for the cases which the Northeast people face. But then there are the recommendations that is in Best Bora Committee. Yes, some of them we have to accept that they have implemented. Some of them have been implemented, but some of them also we need to do a lot. We talked about raising awareness. Yes, this is very important. There are short-term medium term
Yes.
and long term. But the thing is that now we also need to see the mindset and the intention. For example, if somebody is calling me a Korean or a Chinese, at least they respect me to some level. But so now we need to know the perpetrators in this recent incident, that when they are calling Chinese Chinky, Chow Mein, Momo, do they know that these two boys are from the Northeast? Or are they really not aware that they are not from this part of the country? So we need to see, we need a proper
Absolutely. I
investigation
think
in order to ascertain this.
It is time to criminalize the utterance of this word. That is what India should be doing. So, Sanju Varma, is India willing to formally perhaps acknowledge that racial violence within its own citizens is actually a reality? Or will we continue to treat attacks on people from Northeast as a law and order situation? Sanju Varma, that's a question to you, ma'am. Sanju Varma, if you heard me. Okay, we'll try and fix that audio with Sanju. Yes, please. Can you hear me now?
Can you please have the audio sorted?
I will just get that done. Yes. So, you know, perhaps Dr. Kiran Bedi, would you say that it's time to criminalize the utterance of that word against people from Northeast? Because until and unless that is done, the entire cultural barriers won't be crossed.
Well, the ultimate criminal law exists today. It's not that you, under the new laws, you can take on. The point is, I'm at graded. If somebody is emerging as regular hate speeches or hostile speeches like this, I think can be brought in at an early stage of little prevention. It's under control. So you can go graded, certainly not an FIR, but you can bring in, you can nurture this group. As I told you, the rough register plays that role, where you make a note of who is doing what. And then when we called and warned, and then brought in under some preventive sections of law, which is peace proceedings, where is it put on as non-civil surety, and the elders play a role to control. So you can go into little graded rate straight away, not to go FIR and then bail and make it criminal angle. I would rather go very graded in such an age group. But if it is open and it's like a full-blown hate, you have a law, you can take action. Why not? And as I see the government, the policing of the state is taking action. They don't have a choice. But I would say preventive policing, where graded rough registers is maintained for such youth to be coming under some watch, where they brought under elder control, their parents' control, their teachers' control, or those elders who exercise some influence and control over them. So I'm more on preventive policing, then finally, rather than come to ultimate criminality. Because it's
Sanju Varma, please go ahead.
Yes. Marya, you know, I fully appreciate the points made by Ms. Bedi with respect to preventive policing, preventive action. But I think we need to fix the elephant in the room. The moot point is this, and there's no easy way of saying it. Be it West Bengal, be it large parts of Assam, I think, you know, there has been inorganic growth of radical Islamist elements. For instance, look at what Himanta Biswa Sarma said. I will quote him ad verbatim. He said every 10 years, the Muslim population in Assam is growing at the rate of 36%. The other communities, particularly Hindu population, is growing at the rate of barely 9 to 9.5%. And he said that this 36% growth every 10 years in Assam is not organic. You look at South Salmara, Darang, Morigaon, Bongaigaon, Barpeta, Dhubri. The Muslim population on an average has grown from 23% 20 years back to 76%. The link is this. There are radical elements who are taking law in their own hands. If you look at the composition of the law and order breakdowns that have happened, be it in Mizoram, be it in Manipur, be it in Tripura, be it in West Bengal, what do you see? There is a common thread. Who are the perpetrators?
Please come back to the core issue.
Okay. No, Ms. Sanju Varma, I'm not too sure if the... No. This is
Marya,
about
Marya,
the people of the Northeast. Let's talk about it. I don't think so. The religious angle should be brought in here. So please come in. Yes, please go ahead quickly.
In 10 seconds.
Yes, please.
My limited point is this, that law and order is a function of various things. It's not, something that can be easily comprehended. Each state has a different demographic makeup, but
Yes.
you need to bring down this tendency to stereotype people. I fail to understand why the Congress MP on your panel does not condemn what Sam Pitroda said. He basically said everybody from Northeast is a chinky. Does he have the guts to condemn his own leader?
Okay.
He will not do that.
No,
That is the hypocrisy
the larger
I want
question
I want to
is
tell you
also
something,
about...
lady.
Yes, please come in. Pradyut,
Please
come in
don't
on this.
showcase your
Specifically,
hypocrisy.
Marya,
Don't
yes,
showcase
please
your
come in
hypocrisy.
about the
I
Base
just want to
Barua
tell you
Committee.
something.
Base
First
Barua
thing,
Committee and its
first
recommendations,
thing.
please. Let's get into specifics
yes, first
now,
thing,
please.
I want to tell you something. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry that this entire core issue that we are discussing today, that you invited me to join this panel.
Yes, please, go
It's
ahead.
been diverted, and this is being diverted with some racial narrative that they are all always good at it. The core issue is this, that what I said, that is very unfortunate that the youth of the Northeast face this kind of racial discrimination, prejudice, in every part of the country, and how do we actually prevent it?
Will you condemn Sam
Policing
Pitroda?
alone cannot solve it.
Will
Policing,
you condemn
yes.
Sam Pitroda? That's
Of
my
course
limited
I
point.
condemn if Sam Pitroda said that. There's no two way about it. But please don't
So then please say
politicize
that
this
Sam
issue.
Pitroda should be
What the
expelled
more
from the
important
Congress.
issue, please.
He said all Northeastern people are Chinese.
Don't
Sanju,
politicize this
you
thing.
want
What
him
I
to
am basically
condemn
trying to
all
tell you, I'm
He has
sorry I
condemned
want
it.
to...
Chinese.
Ms. Varma,
Please
he
say
has
that he
condemned
should
it.
be
He has
expelled from the
condemned
Congress
it.
party.
He has condemned it. We have to
If
move
at all
beyond
Sam
Sam
Pitroda
Pitroda.
says
Let's
something
talk
like
about...
this,
Let's talk
No, I
about
want
who
to
is
tell you
fueling hate.
something.
How should this
No,
hate
Marya.
end?
No.
Okay,
You
let
are
me
read out
finish.
Rahul
to
Gandhi's
politicize and
statement.
trivialize this
Pradyut, please
entire
come,
issue.
Pradyut.
Marya.
Yes,
Marya,
Pradyut,
can
No,
I come
I'm
in for
very
a question?
sorry. I regret
One
joining
moment.
with this.
Pradyut,
Because they are
Pradyut,
just...
my
they are
question
just-
is,
they
my
are-
question
they
is,
are
please.
just trying to divert the entire issue.
Pradyut,
What is
my
this?
question is...
You are basically diverting
Pradyut,
what is
my
more
question
important.
is, listen
Then
to me,
Please
listen
be
to me.
sensitive. Please be
Absolutely.
sensitive. The Northeast...
Absolutely.
Marya,
My question is,
see,
will
you are
Northeast
trying to
MPs...
divert this issue. The core issue
Absolutely
is
not.
this. What
Absolutely
we
not.
discussed.
Yes, I'm coming back to you. Please listen to
What
me.
I'm trying to tell
Will
you is
Northeast MPs push for mandatory reporting of racial slurs in FIRs, which is similar to SC/ST Atrocities Act provisions? That's my question. Because let's talk about also the recommendations of the Base Barua Committee.
Yes. What is important? See, there has to be a concerted action plan. Only policing or preventive policing cannot solve this problem. Yes, there can be creation of fast-track courts and special police squads. But at the same time, social intervention, sensitization, interventions in educational curriculum, and more awareness about Northeast people that they are part and parcel of the entire Indian polity. This has to be, this has to be actually taken up in tandem with everybody. And this is a painstaking process, I know that. But then knowledge and identification and that they are very much part of the Indian polity should be inculcated in the schools, and in the social interventions are also very important. This is what I'm talking about. And acts of hate and prejudice across various parts of the country cannot be accepted, should not be accepted.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
it cannot be.
Read out Rahul Gandhi's
We all
post.
have to be part of it.
It cannot be a BJP
Marya,
or a
please be
Congress
fair.
issue. This is a humanity issue.
Yes, so
This
can I
is
just
an
come in?
issue of every
Absolutely, that
citizen.
is what we said.
It is a
But I'm
issue which
very
concerns
sorry.
Can I
This is
come in for
unfortunate.
20
These
seconds,
ladies
Marya?
are trying to divert this attention
No,
by
this is unfair.
trivialize.
You can't do this. You have to give me 30 seconds, please.
How
Please have
poignant
his
and
say.
painful of this case of Angel Chakma. He has to assert in the face of death that I am Indian. How poignant and
Absolutely.
how painful it is.
Why do you
Absolutely,
call
I
it
agree.
You're not giving me
I
time to
agree.
rebut.
I agree. Please go ahead, Ms. Sanju Varma.
Thank you. Marya, now I heard the gentleman. It's very easy to say, let's not politicize this. Is it a humanitarian issue? Yes. But the reason I called it a political issue is because today, at 12:43 p.m., the leader of the opposition, supposedly the tallest leader in the Congress party, Rahul Gandhi, this is what he's written. I will just read the moot points of his tweet, not the other stuff that he said. Hate doesn't appear overnight. For years now, it is being fed daily, especially to our youth through toxic content and irresponsible narratives, and it is being normalized by the hate spewing leadership of the ruling BJP. This is what Rahul Gandhi has said in response to the killing
Yes,
of
there is a piece of
Angel
breaking news
Chakma.
which is coming in now. Just hold on to your thoughts. This is certainly a big statement and a big demand that is coming in now by victim Angel's father. Angel's father has demanded death penalty for the attackers. He has said he cried a lot after son was attacked and was ready to sell my kidney to save my son. All attackers should be hanged to death. Though that's what a grieving father is demanding, Dr. Alana. Death penalty for the attackers, Dr. Alana. That's what Angel Chakma's father is demanding. I'm going to play that soundbite and then I'm coming to you, Dr. Alana. Yes.
क्या पता सर हॉस्पिटल वाला भी मिला हुआ हो, लेकिन हमारा जो हमने जब ऑपरेशन किया बच्चा को उस समय पीयूष पांडे सर डॉक्टर था, उसने बोला ऑपरेशन सक्सेसफुल करके बोला था, लेकिन बाद में लापरवाही किया, वो मेजर ऑपरेशन हुआ ऐसे बोला था। ऑपरेशन होने के बाद इसने एक दिन छुट्टी किया, तो उनका साथ जो डॉक्टर था, छोटा मोटा डॉक्टर था, उन लोग को पूछता हूँ मेरे बच्चा को क्या हुआ, बोला वो पीयूष पांडे सर से बात करो। वो पीयूष पांडे को सर जाता हूँ तो वो तो बोला छुट्टी में है। तो मेरा लड़का 10 तारीख के बाद बहुत सीरियस कंडीशन हुआ था। ये नहीं ऑपरेशन हुआ था 18 तारीख के बाद बहुत सीरियस कंडीशन हुआ। फिर 18 तारीख के बाद पूरा आईसीयू से पे वेंटिलेटर में ले गया, उसको ऑक्सीजन लगा रखा, पूरा बेहोश हो रखा था, हाथ पे चल नहीं रहा था। मतलब ऐसे उन्होंने बहुत मतलब अच्छे से हॉस्पिटल ये नहीं किया, ट्रीटमेंट नहीं किया। कोई नौकरी करने जाता है, कोई पढ़ाई करने जाता है, कोई कंपनी में काम करने जाता है, मजदूरी करने जाता है, तो इनका साथ ऐसे गलत व्यवहार नहीं होना चाहिए। हम भी इंडियन है सर, तो सरकार से मेरा दरख्वास्त है या विनती है कि ये सभी का साथ एक जैसा होना चाहिए, किसी का साथ ऐसे गलत व्यवहार नहीं होना चाहिए। सभी एक जैसे हम भी इंडियन है, वो भी इंडियन है। ये है कि हम नॉर्थ ईस्ट से बिलोंग करते हैं बोल के हम लोगों मतलब इन लोग गलत व्यवहार से पुकारते हैं, बोलते हैं, ये नहीं होना चाहिए।
Union Minister Kiran Bedi has also reacted on this story. Now let's listen in.
देहरादून में हमारे नॉर्थ ईस्ट का एक बच्चे के साथ जो घटना हुई है, मौत हो गए हैं, इससे हम लोग सब बहुत ही दुखी हैं और एक तरीके से आक्रोश भी है। इसको एक घटना सिर्फ नहीं देखना चाहिए, और ये सिर्फ नॉर्थ ईस्ट ही क्यों, पूरा देश को दुख होना चाहिए, क्योंकि हमारे देश के अंदर में किसी बच्चे या किसी इंसान को उनका जात या उनका धर्म या उनका प्रदेश या उनको जैसे दिखता है उसका पहचान, उसके वजह से अगर मौत होते हैं या उसको अटैक करते हैं, तो मुझे लगता है कि ये तो समाज का हर वर्ग को सोचना चाहिए। उत्तराखंड का सरकार ने सख्त कार्रवाई शुरू किया है। उत्तराखंड का मुख्यमंत्री ने भी बहुत सख्त कदम उठाया है और शायद 5 लोग अरेस्ट भी हो गए हैं। लेकिन मैं ये चाहता हूं कि जो दिल्ली में जैसे व्यवस्था बनाया हुआ है दिल्ली पुलिस में, वैसे हर प्रदेश का जो मेट्रोपॉलिटन पुलिस है, अगर वो कदम उठाए तो अच्छा रहेगा।
Dr. Alana, the father, heartbroken, is demanding justice and also saying that they are also citizens of India. But at the same time, that the son may not have been given the right hospital treatment is a charge also coming in from a grieving father here.
I completely agree with the father. He has every right to ask for a punishment, the most severe punishment, because this is a heinous crime against his son. No amount of compensation can bring back to the father who lost his son. I remember Nido Tanya's mother in Jantar Mantar. She was standing the day Nido lost his life, that no mother should go through the same way I have gone through today. Today, I'm hearing Angel's father saying that no child should go through the same experience that I've gone through. Now the mother, those days, and the father here are saying the same thing. Now we need strictest punishment, and then, as I said earlier, deterrence has to be set. Yes, our Minister Kiran Bedi has said about 1093, that is the Special Police Unit for Northeastern Region, which was constituted in 2014 when Nido Tanya was killed. So the same thing we have been asking, which is in the Besbura Committee report recommendations, that there should be 1093 should also be, functional in other major cities, like you have in Mumbai, Bengaluru, and other cities where chunk of Northeast people are there. Now that today in Dehradun, I'm told that there are around thousands of students from the Northeast. Now you need to set up a temporary committee to go and see the situations and on the policing. Yes, coming back to that. After 4 to 5 days, of the incident, why the police have to react so late? That itself shows that their attitude. That itself shows that this has been taken, racism and attack has been taken, very, very casually. And now, of course, hospital. I myself have experienced a lot when I'm taking the victims, when I'm bringing the victims to many hospitals. I know the attitude of the hospitals, and I can see that. I'm sure prompt action, proper treatment could have been given. I'm sure there must be, but investigation should take place.
Investigation
how the hospital authorities
will reveal
have
the
acted.
truth.
So all
absolutely,
this,
a lot of
correct.
questions, lot of questions that needs answer now. Dr. Alana, Sanju Varma, Dr. Kiran Bedi and Pradyut Bardoloi, really appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us.
People power triumphs at the Supreme Court. From Sengar to Aravallis, justice prevails. Supreme Court draws the line. From prisons to protected hills, Supreme Court intervenes. Justice steps in. Orders paused. Two big pauses, one powerful message.
People power has spoken and the Supreme Court has listened. From the streets to the courtroom, public outrage has pushed for justice and the results are clear. In one landmark case, convicted rapist Kuldeep Sengar was denied bail, a move hailed as a victory for victims and accountability. Meanwhile, in a separate battle for the environment, the Aravalli Hills was safeguarded when the Supreme Court stayed the centre's controversial revised definition, which threatened to open vast stretches to mining. These two developments, though different in nature, carry the same message. When citizens raise their voices, the law can act decisively. First up the story, and then I bring in the crusaders.
It is a win for Unnao ki beti. The Supreme Court on Monday stayed the bail granted to rape convict former BJP MLA Kuldeep Sengar. The top court put on hold the Delhi High Court verdict that suspended the life term given to Sengar in the 2017 Unnao rape case. The vacation bench headed by Chief Justice Surya Kant raised concerns about the High Court's interpretation of Section 5 of the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act to exclude MLAs from ambit of public servant. The court wondered how a constable is a public servant under POCSO but not an MLA. During the hearing, the CJI slammed activists and cautioned them against browbeating the judicial system. The court issued notice to Sengar on the appeal filed by the CBI against the High Court order. The next hearing will be after 4 weeks. Reacting to the court's decision, the Unnao rape survivor said her fight will not be over till the rapist is given death sentence.
मुझे इस सुप्रीम कोर्ट मुझे भरोसा था कि हमें न्याय देगा और न्याय की उम्मीद है। अभी मेरा तो संघर्ष जारी है, जारी रहेगा। हम हमेशा लड़ेंगे। अभी मेरी लड़ाई कहाँ खत्म हुई है। अभी तो लड़ाई भी और आगे की है। अभी लड़ाई लड़ा कहाँ है। अभी तो लड़ाई का अब लड़ना है। लड़ाई को उससे फांसी तक लेके जाना है मुझे। खुश है कुछ सुप्रीम कोर्ट पर, धन्यवाद से खुश है। केवल 2 जजों ने मेरे साथ गलत किया था, आज सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने मेरे साथ बहुत अच्छा किया। एक अपना पति खोए बैठी है वो इंसान, उसके बच्चों को हिसाब मिलना चाहिए।
लगता है कि आजीवन कारावास बरकरार रहेगा अब जब सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने स्टे दिया है, आगे जब सुनवाई होगी?
नहीं, सीधा फांसी होना चाहिए। मेरे जितने पति हत्यारे हैं सबको फांसी होना चाहिए।
Survivors' lawyers asserted that the court stay was only a small relief.
ये बच्ची जो थी और इसका परिवार मुझसे माइक नीचे कर लो, मुझसे ये रोज पूछ रहा था कि क्या अब हम अगले 5 मिनट जिंदा रहेंगे या नहीं रहेंगे। अब कम से कम मैं इन्हें ये बता सकता हूँ कि आपके पास अभी बहुत छोटी सी रिलीफ मिली है। बिल्कुल हमें इसको विक्ट्री नहीं कहना चाहिए, मैं इसको विक्ट्री नहीं कह रहा हूँ, ये विक्ट्री नहीं है, ये एक छोटा सा सांस लेने का मौका विक्टिम और उसको परिवार को मिला है।
Sengar was sentenced to life imprisonment in 2020 for raping the minor in Unnao. The Delhi High Court verdict suspending the sentence gave fresh ammunition to the opposition to target the government. Sengar is also convict in the custodial death of the survivor's father. He was sentenced to 10-year jail in that case. Bureau Report, India Today.
Yogita Byana, women's rights activist, is joining me. Yogita, does today's Supreme Court verdict restore faith for survivors who felt that the system was bending for the powerful?
Absolutely, it's a very big day and very special day because today is the day we, not special in a very good sense though, but we lost our daughter Nirbhaya this day, 29th of December. So I think somewhere her spirit was with us, and that's why we got this relief. And it is a one step further, I would say. However, it seems to be a pretty good relief, and the observation of Supreme Court was very sensitive, and Tushar Mehta also put a very strong point across, and it was a very strong kind of judgment. I would say the judgment is out now. It is very strong. It is favoring us in every sense. I'm surprised to hear the lawyer, because I had not heard him, that he's saying it is a small step. I think because he's trying to cover up his failures, though he did not do a good job in High Court. So I think that's the reason. Otherwise, I am pretty, like anybody can say, anyone who was present there and someone who has understanding of legal matters would say that this is a very big relief.
I would say more power to you.
I think
because you pick up these battles and take them to the logical conclusion. So, I wish to say that, it's someone like you who is so determined that has resulted in a judgment of this nature. One point here, Yogita, since you're talking about the judgment, the CJI asked how a constable is a public servant and a POCSO, but not an MLA. Does this expose how power distorts accountability in our laws?
See, law has a different interpretation. Law is not about always the, kind of the system. It is all about the interpretation. So I think High Court judges, we need to question them here. I would very evidently say that on your channel. We need to see who all goofed up there, and definitely investigation officer, yes, investigating officer. The judges interpreted something and gave a order of that kind. However, there were many people failing this daughter, including the lawyer, I would say, because, she trusted him, and somewhere maybe she'll not understand. She's too naive to understand all these things, but we understand. We deal with such cases every single day. So there is some kind of a goof up from all the end, and that's what resulted into that berserk order. Now, I'm happy that CBI had to do its job or has done a job on its own. I don't want to comment. You know it better that they had no choice but to represent this case very strongly because of the pressure, because of the media. I'm really grateful to the media, because when we sat on that dharna, only 2 or 3 people were media was there, but next day it was all about that how you people picked it up and made this fight a lot more easy for us to kind of go ahead with this.
All right, Yogita, thank you for joining us. We have Chetan Agarwal also joining us, founder of Climate Spring Innovation, Integrity and Transparency, someone who has been fighting for the Aravallis. In what will be seen as a big relief to protesters and environmentalists, Supreme Court has also stayed the verdict that limited the definition of the Aravalli range and decided against imposing a complete ban. And in fact, Supreme Court puts its own November 20th judgment in abeyance. Many would say it's unprecedented, unheard of. Whether definition of Aravalli is restricted to 500-meter area creates a structural paradox where conservation area is narrowed. My question is that to you, Chetan Agarwal. Has it broadened the scope of non-Aravalli area where regulated mining can be conducted?
Thank you, ma'am. Just to clarify, I'm an independent forest policy analyst and not the description that was provided for me. I think that's another Chetan Agarwal. Yeah, so
I stand corrected, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think this is a welcome change of turn of events where the court took this up on their own, maybe responding to all the the concern which was voiced by TV, by print, and they've heard the voice of the citizens about such a brazenly bizarre order that to say that height is a criteria and hills below a certain height are not Aravallis, or no, they will no longer be Aravallis. The observations which have been made in the order, they've made 5 or 6 observations, and then they've said there should be an impartial, fair, independent expert opinion that must be taken. So these are very strong words. And then the order goes on to say there has to be a high-powered committee of domain experts. So it seems that the court is contrasting the composition of the earlier committee with what it proposes to do. The earlier committee had 5 secretaries, 1 joint secretary. It was chaired by the MOEF secretary, and it had 3 kind of technical experts. So I think the court is certainly taking it very seriously. And it has also picked up the criticism from the press that maybe 90% of the hills would be left out. Out of 12,000 hills, about only 1,000 would be above 100 meters. And in fact, this number is also an underestimate because this only considers the hills which are more than 20 meters high. If you include the hills between 0 and less than 20 meters, that's another lakh. So actually, it's a very kind of bizarre situation which had arisen, and that's why there was so much opposition to this report and this order, and this is very welcome.
Mr. Agarwal, would you also say that today the Supreme Court putting its own order, previous order, on hold, staying it, will be seen as a huge victory for the people who were, climate activists like you, citizens who decided to take it up as their own movement?
Yes, and basically it's not a final kind of victory. It's been held in abeyance, recognizing that there are issues and ambiguities and clarifications are required. So it is it's a big relief, but now the devil is in the details of how the new committee will be formed, how independent it will be, how effective it will work. We don't want a situation of old wine in new bottles and the same outcome coming from a committee which is engineered by the government, perhaps. So
all right.
I think that fear still has to be dealt with.
Thank you for joining us, Chetan Agarwal, there talking about the larger order which has come in from the Supreme Court, which has stayed the previous order that it gave on the definition of Aravallis. That's all from me. Thanks so much for watching.